We've built an extensive partner network in the Business and IP Centre. And I think the key learning point from that has been that we've built win-win relationships. Relationships with other organisations don't always need to be around a financial transaction. They can be based on an understanding of what those partners need. For example, we have many partners in the Business and IP Centre. We offer them access to an audience. We offer them a venue. They offer us the kind of services that we can offer to our customers. We've delivered one-to-one support using library staff. Now, a big challenge there was that the language that is used by business and the language that is used by libraries is often quite different. So we've made efforts to try to learn the languages that entrepreneurs use so that we have some credibility with them. With our training content, we've been very careful to listen to what our users are asking us, what our customers are asking us, so that we can target our training content at what they actually need and try things out. I mean, we have most of the workshops that we've launched have been successful. Some have been lesser, some have needed changing. Be prepared to do that. When people come and use libraries like the Business and IP Centre or any of your libraries, the experience they're having there will not just be about things that you deliver yourselves. It'll be about meeting other people. It'll be about meeting other entrepreneurs. And there are things that you can do, particularly using Web 2.0 platforms like LinkedIn, Facebook, to help facilitate those kind of communities developing. So in the Business IP Centre, we've done a lot to try to develop those communities online, which enable us to be able to, obviously, to promote our services, but also to engage more directly with our audience. We've linked our collection development to what people need, to the kind of questions that we're being asked. And a key learning point there from our point of view is that the people who work on the front line in libraries are the people who are talking to people all the time. They're your ears, they're your eyes. Make sure that you don't put a division between the people that are making decisions about what you purchase, what resources you use, and what people are asking. Keep that link there. I think all of those points could probably be summarized by one thing, which is listen to other service providers, listen to your customers. Another point would be prepared to make mistakes. If you don't try things out, you'll never learn. The final point, which leads into to the case study aspect of this, is that case studies are particularly important because it's the power of storytelling. A story tells much more than endless bullet points on PowerPoint presentations. Now, case studies can work in a number of ways apart from helping you to tell your story. They can also act as champions. They can go out and tell your story and promote what you do and tell people what you do, spread the word. But they can also be critical friends, and everybody needs critical friends, people who are able and honest enough to comment on what you do positively and critically if needs be, so you can involve them in the planning of your services in future. So it says 10 minutes here, but I haven't got 10 minutes worth. This is the last slide. I think that's for both of us. Here are two examples of case studies that people have used at the Business and IP Centre. Adam Pritchard from Pomegranate, which is a fruit juice based on pomegranate, I believe. Heavy user of the centre, currently sells 2 million litres worth of juice each month, which is a considerable amount. Karen Mattison from Women Like Us, she's launched a social enterprise which really matches employers and women. And she has 20,000 candidates on her books at the moment, so it's a very successful enterprise. So that's all I propose to say about the Business and IP Centre and about libraries. But I'd now like to pass you on to Michael, who will tell his story.
Hello. Oh dear. 8 minutes and 39 seconds. So I had prepared a 25-minute presentation, which I'll try and get through quickly. But I want to stress, if anybody has timed themselves to need the toilet in 8 minutes, then feel free to jump out during my talk. I'm definitely not offended by that at all. So, thank you for that introduction. My name's Michael Korn. I'm from QuickScreen. And I'm going to tell you the story of how I've got this business up and running from 4 years ago when I was a student at the Royal College of Art, studying design and engineering. It's like a want to be James Dyson course, is how I saw it, and I still would like to be something along the lines of what he's doing. The case study, what I'm going to talk to you about, is how I've gone from being a student to a startup. How the idea went from being a concept, just a drawing, to a patented product. How the prototypes that I built on my desk using cut-up bits of card are now products that are in production. And how from the initial sales, which were all done by myself, after I had physically built the product myself and met the customer and then delivered it to the customer, we now have a distribution network that is international, but predominantly initially in the UK, where we have other people doing all of that on our behalf. And how we and I are maintaining that entrepreneurial, pioneering spirit now and into the future as we want to grow the business. I think I can start maybe with video number 1, please. So you can all see what the product is. With the music. Where's the music? This is also liven you up a bit. So here you can see it's a portable, retractable room divider. It's actually the world's most portable, retractable room divider. It's a screen. You can pull it out anything up to 3.4 meters. One of the magic things is you can bend it anywhere. That's because it's using this brilliant technology. This is a UK material innovation. It's been around for 10 years. It's a typical story of a business that had an invention but didn't really know what to do with it. And the QuickScreen is the first product to have been developed using this material. So this is called roller tube, and the QuickScreen uses it, as you saw in the video, along the top and the bottom of the screen to enable it to roll up. Now, in this talk, I'm going to go through and hopefully, in telling my story, dispel some of the myths that are around startups and entrepreneurship. So the things written up there are tongue-in-cheek. I don't believe them, but I just wanted to make sure that there was not a language barrier. The first one being, it is impossible for a student to turn their project into a reality, a commercial reality. A lot of people say to do this, you need obviously to have a professional, a design professional that charges and does this as a full-time career, or somebody who's done it before. And you're a student, you just stick to your drawings and get a proper job. And I think that you can replace the word student there with any type of entrepreneur who previously hasn't been an entrepreneur. And there are many successful entrepreneurs that came from maybe being a housewife or being a lawyer or being an accountant or something like this, which is very different to this world. I'll tell you my story. This is me with less hair as a student, I think 5 years ago. And it's the first QuickScreen, essentially. This was a prototype. I used tape measures that were bent back on themselves, and I thought, hey, we can have a really good pull-out screen here. That would be really useful for lots of places. And this is it now, which is the same thing, but replacing the bent-back tape measure with the roller tube. And this means you can have a full-scale room divider. And the bit that I think is important is that throughout this whole process, I, the inventor or the student or the designer or the person who had the idea, has always stayed in the center and driven it through, taking into account issues in production, in sales, the user insights, and also coming up with the ideas. And I think that's hugely, hugely important. Okay. And I guess here I can talk about the British Library and what they are doing with the IP centres and with your IP centres. You're supporting those inventors. You're encouraging them to be able to keep going with their journey and not stop at the point where, once you've done your drawing, you have to keep going. So all the support you can have is brilliant. Another misconception is you can't develop a product without raising finance or licensing the idea. Now, many people say this, but I think that these are possibly two very dangerous routes to go down. If you raise finance, then at the early stages, you need to start dressing up your proposal, your offering, your invention. And you need to start selling what it can do instead of addressing the issues about what it can't do. And the early stages of a business are quite gritty and difficult and risky. And if you're trying to tell people how great it is and they believe you, well, then you haven't solved that core problem, and you might end up spending the rest of your time ignoring that problem but solving the easy problems, so you can keep telling the story. And then you end up with a bubble that is going to burst because you've never actually addressed that core problem that really is quite difficult and gritty, and you know it. But if you're trying to make it seem valuable, you don't tell anybody about it. And then licensing the idea, this in theory can be a beautiful concept. You've got the invention and somebody else has the capabilities of making it and taking it to market, and you marry together, and then you will do very well. But in my analogy, from my personal experience, because we went down that route and we decided not to do it, is that it can be more like giving your child up for adoption. So this is your baby, you've nurtured it, you understand it, and then you hand it over to somebody else to take it forward. And that, there's a risk associated with that. They won't understand it, they won't nurture it as much, they won't care about it as much as maybe the inventor themselves will. So I think it's always good to support and encourage the inventor to keep going with it, because they are the person that will, against all odds, try and make it happen. And here are some examples of how we did that on our own. And the lesson from this is one of bootstrapping.